want it? Let's connect.
Hello, everybody. This is Nalo from Stewart Connects, Reels, Reads, and Real Talk. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a movie that I recently saw called My Dead Friend Zoe. So, if you know anything about me, or if you've watched any of my videos, you know, if at all possible, I try to go into movies without knowing much about them. And that also means I try not to see a trailer. And so, based on the title, it put me in the mindset of Weekend at Bernie's, which is a comedy. And so when I saw the title, My Dead Friend Zoe, I was thinking comedy. And so when I went in there, I did not know what to expect. And I will say it is absolutely not a comedy. Merritt is a US veteran who keeps seeing the presence of Zoe, her best friend who died in combat. When her estranged grandfather is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, she decides to become his caretaker while also trying to heal herself. Three of the things in that synopsis are incorrect. So, right off the bat, if you go in there and you have read that, you're already at a disadvantage as to what this movie is about. This movie is about post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental and behavioral disorder that develops from experiencing a traumatic event, including the loss of a best friend. Merritt is dealing with PTSD not in the way that the synopsis would make you believe. So that part is incorrect. But she is dealing with PTSD, and it has manifested itself in several ways. And most of that is her interactions with others and her relationship with the people that care about her. But the main thing to know going into it is, first of all, it's not a comedy. So it is not Weekend at Bernie's. So Natalie Morales plays Zoe, and she's very funny. I I've seen her in other things, but the very first thing that I ever saw her in was the Santa Clarita Diet with Drew Barrymore. If you ever saw that, it got canceled, and I think they only had 2 seasons, but it was very funny, and she was funny in that. And that was the very first time I ever saw her in that. She is funny, but I don't think I really laughed because it's sad. The main character, Merritt, is played by Sonequa Martin Green. Now, again, I have on one of my Walking Dead shirts. I am a huge Walking Dead fan. If you know anything about me, you know that. And Sonequa Martin Green played Sasha on Walking Dead. The first, I think she was on there up and through the seventh season. Well, she didn't come in until the third season, I believe. Somebody's going to probably check me on that. But either way, I've been a huge fan of hers. And so she is the main character in this. And that was one of the reasons I was drawn to this, because again, I am a fan of hers. And she did an excellent job in this movie. She is so completely broken and so sad because the way that the movie is told, it slowly reveals all of her trauma. And that is when you truly understand what she's suffering from. So Gloria Reuben plays her mother. You don't see her very often, but she has a huge presence in her life. And the one reason why I said PTSD manifests itself in many ways is because she's dealing with something that she doesn't feel comfortable talking about, or she is running from. She's not open with her mother, and they know that something is wrong with her, and there's some incident. They don't give you all the information of what's happened, but she has been remanded through the court to do this group therapy, which she's been fighting the whole way. And as far as her mother knows, she's doing it. So there is this barrier between her and her mother, the relationship between she and her mother. So you see that unfold. And one of the ways you see it unfold is that her mother is overseas when the movie starts, but she's reaching out to Merritt to have her go and deal with her grandfather. So Gloria Reuben's father is played by Ed Harris, who is Merritt's grandfather. And you learn that she did have a close relationship with her grandfather, but because of this trauma that she's not able to truly deal with, she's kind of put him on the back burners, and now he is dealing with Alzheimer's. And she is dealing with trauma that she cannot face, along with her mother's request that she step in and help her grandfather until she can get there. So you have that going on. And then you also have the push from Morgan Freeman. Now, Morgan Freeman plays the therapist. Merritt is required to be a part of his group. And so he's pushing to try and get her to speak. And of course, she's going to the meeting and she will not open up about what's going on with her. Zoe, her dead friend, is who she's seeing. So she is having conversations with Zoe, who of course no one else can see. And again, me going into it, I thought it's either a comedy like Weekend at Bernie's, or it's one of the many movies I've seen where there's an actual ghost and the person's interacting with the ghost and the ghost is really there and no one can see it. But this is not that. This is in her mind. And so Zoe is almost always with her. And Zoe is always snarky and mean-spirited in many ways. There's an anger there, which it takes time for the movie to truly give you the information as to why Zoe is angry, or why in Merritt's mind Zoe is angry. There's a lot that this movie deals with: the relationship between best friends, the relationship between a mother and a daughter, the relationship between the granddaughter and her grandfather, also dealing with someone who was once so bright and brilliant and seeing them succumb to something as awful as Alzheimer's, which is heartbreaking. I'm going to say his name wrong, so please forgive me. It's Utkarsh Ambudkar. And you may recognize him from the television series Ghosts. He is somewhat of a love interest, but that's kind of put on the back burner. And it is a storyline, but it is one of the smaller storylines because, again, you are dealing with a woman who is dealing with so much else. But he's a little funny, and so maybe there's a little comedy in that. This movie I think that it's worthwhile. It is sad. It is heartbreaking. But I think that if you go in there and at least you understand that it's not a comedy and it's not a supernatural movie, it's not a ghost movie, but that it's a movie of a woman dealing with a lot of trauma, then I would recommend this movie. So that is my review of My Dead Friend Zoe. What would I rate My Dead Friend Zoe? I'm giving it 4 buttery popcorns for the acting, for the story, for the opportunity to see a story that's not huge, but it is a story worth telling. Again, not just about the war and not just about recovering from the trauma of war, but also the trauma of life. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And more importantly, please take care of your mental health. Have a wonderful day.
Let's connect.